We are live.
Wow. So let's go on summer holiday.
To the summer house.
Yeah, summer house. Oh my god.
Oh my god, yes.
So many fun laughters. Enjoy.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Spiritual Lyceum Night, coming to you from the Paul Spiritualist Church on the south coast of the UK. Very warm welcome to everybody who's joining us tonight. Wonderful guest. Here, really here. Look, it's not in a box. Lovely Fredrik Haglund just arrived today. He's with us at Paul. He's taking our service tomorrow. A 5-day intensive course on evidential mediumship and private sittings next week.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank you for inviting
I'm
me
glad. Then we are working. Oh no, you have an evening of mediumship with Sandra Mitchell-Therius Saturday week, and we're working together Sunday
that's
week.
Exciting.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. So very busy. You don't come to Paul for a rest if you're not outside painting the building or putting new floor down. You're doing lots of work.
It won't be as good as Jack does it, so I allowing the professionals to do the work. I'm just enjoying my time.
So yeah, we were asked what the topic is going to be tonight, and we couldn't really decide. So we said spiritual stuff. We'll talk about spiritual stuff. Hello, Eva, Enrisha, Marion. Good evening, everybody.
Some Swedish support tonight. Oh, that's lovely.
Yes, we've got snow out there.
Yeah.
It's a lovely photo of all the snow.
Yeah.
Anyway, spiritual stuff. It must be interesting for you, Fredrik, because you come into England for a time and then go back out and then come back in. On this visit, have you noticed much change or anything that's change? Anything that's changed? Where you're going out and working in churches and centres?
I mean, I can say that it's a major difference because we don't have any churches or centres in Sweden as you have here. I mean, here you are lucky to have churches and centres, both independent and SNU churches, Christian spiritualist churches, and everything that you mentioned. And they have their audience, they have the people coming there and support them. We don't have that in Sweden.
Yeah.
We don't have the prayers, we don't have the philosophy. We have evenings of mediumship, and we have plenty of really good mediums in Sweden, but we don't have the subject of divine service, for example.
Yeah. I was more working on, have you noticed any changes in the UK since your last visit or not? Because we've gone through that really bizarre time with the 2020 and the strange differences we had. I mean, I came up to Edinburgh to see you and Ewan work. And on the train journey up there, when we crossed the border, we were told we had to put our masks on. So it was, there was just so much going on. Do you think it's sort of like settled down now a little bit? Yeah,
very much so. And I'm happy to see most of the places are open again as they were closing during the COVID and things like that. So
we're lads.
Huh?
We're lads, according to Susan.
Uh-huh.
We're lads. Thank you, Susan.
Hi, Susan.
Hello, Lynn from Canada. Everybody. Panilla, how are you, darling? Michelle, good evening. Susan, everybody else. So you're talking about spiritual stuff, and like you say, and it was a big surprise to us. Well, it was a big surprise to me when we started talking with our European colleagues and not understanding that Europe isn't like the UK with no churches, no centres around, or very, very few.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's a wonderful person in Germany, when they have a weekend meeting of healing, they actually hire somewhere right out of the way, because in Germany it's still a little bit of a, are we devil worshippers? For whom the bell tolls.
Yeah.
But actually in spiritualism, I'm sensing something coming in, quite a strong energy, where I want to be guiding people more to working on their own personal development as a person, rather than pushing on for evidential mediumship or healing or whatever. I just feel like there just seems to be this slight turn in the energy now where, yeah, it's about personal development.
But you see, personal development should be the point A before you're starting to do your mediumship.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, there's very, very few teachers who are talking about personal development. I think I have been very blessed and met many, many wonderful teachers, both in Sweden and also at the Autofina College, no matter if it has been mediumship or healing or whatever. They have all been talking about personal development. And if you allow the personal development to take place and you are not in a rush, then everything will walk hand in hand.
Yeah. And I think, and we're not innocent of this at all. There's a comment there from Susan there talking about it's the same in Ireland as it is in Europe. I'm quite envious of the easy access to churches in the UK. Well, you need to move then, don't you, dear? I'll put you up here while you're house hunting. Anyway. But yeah.
But then you have, as a good friend, Jack, for example, who is the president of the Danish Spiritual Association. I mean, he worked tireless to build up something in Denmark.
Yeah.
And he does it really well.
Yeah.
And for the spiritualism in Denmark, he's one of the bigger pioneers there. And there is a great pioneer in Norway as well.
Yeah. But as I said, I do feel this turn now. And as I said, Paul is not holding itself up as being a shining example, because we have had the courses on developing your mediumship, developing your healing, developing your philosophy. But it's just become more apparent to me that next year's agenda is there's an awful lot more personal development stuff going on, because I really feel that somewhere we maybe missed the point a bit, or just forgotten the point. Susan, you can stay with me anytime, darling, but don't forget you've got to bring Stevie Trollum, because we send him out for wine, so that's lovely. Good. I just feel like the actual, because we are that cornerstone.
Yeah,
we are that stone that everything is built upon. And if we're busying ourselves to make connection with the spirit world, to bring through messages, which is, the big nadir that we tackle in our movement or whatever, that's all well and good. However, if you haven't done that self-work, tell you where it comes out a lot in my experience is with healers. I always say we've got a really wonderful healing team here at Poole Church, and we always welcome in new people to start discovering it. But I always caution people that once you start working on healing, you will really start to bring up stuff of yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's fine, and you've got a supportive group here that you can talk this through and learn from each other's experiences. But we need to bring that back into the mediumship side as well, the evidential stuff.
But if we're staying with the healing part, don't you think when you, as a healer, give healing to someone, no matter of the reason or purpose of the healing, isn't that true that you also receive equally much healing yourself?
Oh, very much.
Yeah. So, I mean, healing is one kind of mediumship, and all kinds of mediumship is healing.
Oh, yeah. Definitely. Healing is the core fundamental.
And also people who working as a medium, they get very much promoted just because what kind of mediumship they are doing.
Yeah.
But those who do the healing, they are never ever mentioned by names. They are just say, oh, tonight we have this group of healers who are working here. Never ever you credit the names of the healers.
Yeah, that's a fair comment.
And I think those who are healers, no matter if they have a certificate or whatever, they would be perfectly teachers to teach personal development because they have worked a lot with themselves to be where they are at this moment in time.
We like that. Yeah, we like that. Look out, pool healers. Guess what? You've got a new job. Anyway, that is such a good observation. Thank you. We've got a few comments coming in. Casey Guess. Now, we never single out or talk about any other persons or organisations without their representation here. However, I do get what you're saying here when you're talking about, we'll take the SNU element out of it because it's 7 principles, end of story. And yeah, I often balk at saying the word eternal progress open to every human soul. I find that a bit uncomfortable to say, not because there's nothing linked to any organisation, but why do we single out the humans? You know, my cat's got a soul.
Yeah. And my previous dog has a soul.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for me, it's no difference. Of course, it's a difference of human and animals, but our animals becomes like a family member to us. So they should, of course, be included in this.
Yeah. So Casey, yes, we have got thoughts on it. The way I do it is I just say continuous development open to every soul. And I'm not going to go out and sort of like make a rally cry and say this needs to be changed because of my opinion, you know. It's just,
I mean, with the 7 principles, you're also allowed to put your own interpretation into it. The 7 principles is not set in stone. You're allowed to put your own interpretation into it as well. And I have seen many centers or churches who they're still using the format of the 7 principles, but they're using their own format of it and their own understanding of it.
Yeah, so, very true.
I think that's a good idea.
Lovely, Susan. Were your ears burning earlier, darling? Because we were talking about you. We had Anne-Marie Hogan drop by. I seem to have opened up the medium's daycare centre here at Poole. I don't know what's going on. You know, if you don't want to leave your medium at home, bring them down to the daycare centre at Poole and leave them here while you do your shopping. Anyway.
Mediums does it between the messages.
Hey?
Mediums does it between the messages.
And Anne-Marie is just highlighting there. Susan is just highlighting there. I would consider the SNU have already looked at what's gone wrong in their teaching, also looking for self-development. It's just funny, this new world we find ourselves in, that these thoughts seem to go around the planet and manifest in themselves, and everybody picks up on these themes. But personal development, crucial. Orisha, the lovely lady who jumps off ladders. We all stop there, shall we, Orisha? Do you think that there is a rush for some people these days to do development without doing awareness first?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. However, turn that one around, Orisha. Do you think there is a more of an emphasis by churches and centres being put onto development first and not on the awareness side?
Interesting.
Yeah. There's a lot of things going on, and we will talk about financial stuff in a little while. And again, not highlighting any person or organisation, just things that have been going on. So we'll park that one up. But yes, Fredrik agrees. Yeah, there is a rush because evidential mediumship is seen as the starring role, isn't it? And picking up nicely on what you were just saying about the healers. You know, and I will do this. I'm not, I'm guilty of this. Tomorrow it'll be, thank you, Fredrik, for a wonderful service. Where are the healers in that?
Yeah.
Thank you, Sonia. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you, Nikki. Thank you, Ian, for coming in and doing your mediumship.
Yeah.
So watch tomorrow, everybody, because I will getting poked if I don't say that.
But I think everyone who working in this environment do it for the love of what they are doing. And of course, it's not about the money, but if you can get some credit for the work you are doing, that's a nice thought.
And we should acknowledge that as church and centre leaders or chair people or whatever we're doing, whatever our role is, if we are in that arena. Hello, Veronica. We should acknowledge that. I mean, you could end up with a whole litany of names. I mean, because we've got the volunteers.
Yeah.
We've got a great team that welcome people on the door, make new people welcome, introduce them to the church, point where, you know, and not this cold, take a book, sit down, don't say anything. So, yeah, it's a whole little community that all work together to present that service.
And I think there is a way around to actually include everyone who is involved in what's happening in the church. Yeah.
But I'm certainly highlighting. I mean, we do it here at Paul before the services. Our healers actually operate in the church, so people can actually see what's going on. We've had various comments over the years. People have said, well, you can't do healing because you've got to do it in absolute silence. I would say you won't be able to do healing unless you have absolute silence, because that's what you've told yourself.
Exactly.
You know, so. But
I mean, it's so easy for us to laugh about it, but those people who have got the perception of how it must be and how it must work for them, it's not easy for them either.
No. And there was a post a little while back that due to the unavailability of a certain area of this meeting, that we couldn't do healing. And I just thought, how sad is that? Because just because you haven't got that facility available, you're not going to do healing, because you've told yourself, I can only do healing when I'm in that room.
Exactly.
So
what about absent healing?
Very true. Ooh, very good.
I mean, everyone, in every churches and every center, there's a healing book.
Yeah.
And why not including everyone in the healing book, even if the person isn't present?
Yeah. We do with our healing book here on our healing evenings, depending on the turnout for the healers. And I don't mean that in any way detrimental. I always say, if you're here, great. If you're not here, great. You know, you're out busy living life, and that's fine. But if we have enough healers, they will take the healing book, 2 of them, and work through the names, working on their absent healing side. Very, very important part. But we tell ourselves things. And I know I've said this before, just before the pandemic really hit, it was obvious something was not right. So I went from the standard format in the seating in the church of the central aisle and the chairs all branching off of that. And I put in 3 aisles just to break the seating up. And somebody said, oh, well, that's not going to work because, you know, there's a 4-foot gap there now. You know, spirit aren't going to be able to work with that. And I'm thinking, well, if your spirit can't overcome a 4-foot gap, I don't know what's going on.
People have their own understanding.
Yeah.
So may I ask, because you're talking about this COVID thing, so what is your understanding of what's going to happen in the future? Because everyone's talking about COVID coming back, and
I believe, a bit out of the blue, do you want feeding tonight? Because you're just
I'm fat enough.
I believe, unless we see any drastic mutation of things, but then again, we could have that with anything.
Yep.
We can have that with a simple flu virus. That it is just endemic now within the entire world, and it's going to be, we're going to start working by one of the principles, personal responsibility.
Exactly.
You know, if you don't feel comfortable, and we are seeing this, that people are a little bit more reluctant now to go out into bigger groups. We were talking earlier and saying about the demonstrations of mediumship. Pre-COVID, you were getting 60, 70 in. Post-COVID, you may be lucky to get 30, 40 in. Because people have just got a little bit wary now of going out into a big group. So Susan there is just saying, COVID has not gone away, nor has the flu, and it will be part of our world now. And yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. We're not going to go down the route of figures and things like that, because it will cause upset either way, whatever is said. But it is part of our world now. It is a factor in our life. The odds of, well, 1 in 2 of us are going to have cancer. You're lucky, because I've had it.
I have also had it.
Oh, you've all had it. Well, there you go. You know, what about that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think it's just for us to live with it, and those who don't want to come to the churches or centers, we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Hi, Veronica. Hi, Loretta.
Oh, there we go. Veronica Jenkins. From the packed shops this morning, not sure how wary people are. Interesting you said that. I live just off the town centre in Poole, and what I've noticed, but I'm not always right, but what I've noticed is during the week it is significantly quieter than it used to be. But people now tend to have one day of shopping, and that tends to be either a Saturday or a Sunday. Yeah. So you just see this mass influx at the weekend. But that's aside. Is there something going on to reduce numbers, do you think? So what would you think that would affect numbers attending, say, demonstrations? Like the figures I've just quoted, 70 before COVID, 40 or 30 after COVID.
I think people are frightened. But not only that, I mean, the online part has exploded with a big variation where you can look at online instead.
Yeah, blame Veronica for
that. She has done a brilliant job, and I'm really proud of everything she has done. And when people have the variety to see online when the weather is bad and they don't want to go out, they prefer to sit home instead.
Yeah.
And also many elderly people don't like to be out when it's dark. They're frightened to be out due to all the violence that's happening.
Yeah. There are the social factors affecting attendances. I also feel that demonstrations of mediumship, they're like mind, body, spirit events. You know, they're really commonplace.
Yeah.
And are people doing what I keep saying to people I wish you would do? Because to me, and I've said this before the service and after the services, you know, once you've had that evidence, don't become addicted to it. The spirit world don't want you addicted to going back and continue, you know, oh, that was really good. Oh, I'll go back and see him again. Why?
Because you will be disappointed. Yeah. Because the second time you see the same medium, it won't be the same quality as the first one was.
Yeah. But the whole point of the message, and this is what we keep continually going on, and it is bearing fruit, because we are seeing with the workshops that are based on philosophy. We've got Lentat here next year in February, I think it is. And I've only just advertised his course, and already there's 6 people booked on it, which is brilliant. That's just like, wow, where does that come from? Healing. We got the lovely David Powell coming over next year. And again, great interest in his healing workshop. And different things like that. So maybe people are beginning to move on. A lot of people have said the very same thing as I'm about to say. Spiritualism has sort of like stalled over the last 30 years. And it's funny, the people that I've heard say that have all quoted this same figure of 30 years.
Yeah.
Where we've created a dependency. Oh, that was a lovely service. Thank you, Fredrik. Next week, we've got a really good medium. You know, and it's just like, hang on a minute.
But also, when you have been to the church and you love to go to the church or the center, and you have heard from your mother, your father 20, 25, 30 times, then you still love to go to the church or the center, but you're looking for something else.
Yeah.
And then you're looking into beyond the mediumship, you're looking into the philosophy, you're looking into the prayers, you're looking into like-minded people, because you want to feel as a family when you're stepping in.
Yeah. That's really interesting. Yeah, that is really interesting, because are we, the churches and centres, providing that environment where we will encourage people, or do we just open twice a week for a divine service and a dem and that's it, and no other support work?
I think it's very much up to those who leading the church or the center, what they want and what is their experience themselves.
Yeah.
And how open-minded are they to listen to the congregation?
Yeah.
If you have someone who is just interested of the money from the people who are visiting the church, there will never be any change.
Yeah. Yeah. And we are a very proactive movement. This is one of the things I've always loved about my spiritualism, is that it's a very energetic and active movement. It's nothing set in stone. It's nothing orthodox. And so are we providing those avenues where people can progress the knowledge? Now, I know that including Paul, where we put on evenings like awareness nights, spiritual cafe nights, and different nights like that, attendances are quite low, but they are not zero.
No. And there's so many topics that you can bring as an evening of cafe, like bereavement cafe. People have lost someone, they need to speak to someone. I mean, without being trained counselor, but you can always listen to people.
Yeah.
And put people who have the same experience together, and you don't need any education for that. You can just open your center or a church and welcoming those who have lost someone or going through trauma or something in their life. To have a meeting point.
Yeah, very true. Arisha, the paragliding medium from Paynton, jumped off a ladder.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
at her age. Just give in, don't you? Anyway, moving on. I also think using the same local mediums, which has happened because of COVID, people do not want to see the same ones as affected numbers in churches. Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah, very true. And actually, thank you, Arisha, because you've just paved the way there for the next part of the conversation. Which one? Okay. So, Michelle Brown, we'll forget where I was going because Fredrik's in charge now.
Not your cat. Not my cat.
Michelle was just saying it's easier to order online shopping and deliver to my door without the hassle. Very true. The only trouble is you get substitutes. I ordered 7 nicotine patches to give up smoking. They didn't have any, so they substituted 200 cigarettes. So that was fine. That's a joke, by the way.
Yeah. But I think there is something in what Michelle is writing here, because if you are online, then you have much bigger variety to choose from.
Yeah.
But if the church would have used different mediums every Sunday or every Wednesday when they do the services, that would be something different.
Yeah.
Because the difference is when you are online, you don't meeting the like-minded people. You don't meeting everyone.
The way you're thinking.
So that is a good point in
and that ties in nicely with Arisha's comment there. But yeah, it's very difficult. Now, this is going to bring up an area that I was hinted at. We start looking at some of the finances. Now I can look at it from the church side. Fredrik can look at it from the demonstrator side. We need to be much more open about mediums' fees and travel expenses. We can't keep doing what we were doing 30 years ago, standing there with a collection plate going, how much do you want? You know, because really you should know that before. If I hire a plumber, one of the things he's going to do is say £75 for half an hour, and then it's £75 per hour after that. And it's probably about a 3-hour job. So already I've got that idea in my mind. Yeah. I don't go walk up to somebody. I've just any trades that I've had in for here or in the church, and with my purse going, how much do you want? Because this is a business deal. This is a business transaction. And like it or lump it, a church is a business because it's a very simple ethos. If we don't make money, then we go bankrupt and we shut. And it is very, very easy. So,
I mean, you can't walk into Tesco or Morrison and say, hey, I'm working as a medium. Can I buy my food for free?
Yeah. You give it a go.
Yeah.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
It's 24-hour Asda down the road. We'll try it later. We'll let you know, folks.
No, but I think, I mean, all the churches where I have worked has paid travel expenses with no problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then some churches has sort of fee where they pay, and it's always difference.
Yeah. You understand with the fees. You understand as well with the churches and centres their own overheads, and I always feel extra sympathy for those people who rent a community hall or anything like that, because there's already this fee that's got to be covered by the plate. It's not going to come from anywhere else. No. It's got to be covered by the plate. Then we've got to cover the travel fees. Then we've got to cover the actual fee. And then hopefully we're going to have something to put in reserve.
And the tax and the VAT and all you name it.
Yeah. And there does seem to be a few, and this is not everybody, because you know what it's like. There's one bad story and everybody hears that. Nobody hears the 99 good ones. No. But there are some stories coming out with people that we only pay X and we don't pay travel fees. This seems to be coming in quite a lot, actually, in a few places. And it's like, well, that's fine. I fully get it. I fully get it, because I, as well, run a church, and part of my job is to balance the money and the reserves and everything. I fully get that. But are we becoming victims? Because if we do 2 dems a week, 50 weeks of the year, we've got to find 100 mediums in a year.
Or at least 50, because most churches or centers have the same medium twice a year.
Yeah, okay. So we've got to find that. And this is where the costs start ramping up. But where some of the dissent seems to be creeping in, and this is from churches as well, saying about, you know, we had a dem and they wanted half of the door money. Well, that would have meant they got £100 for an hour's work. Yes, and your church got £100 for an hour of turning the lights on. Be fair, you wouldn't have got that money. Sure. You know, and I just think we need to maybe, as mediums and church or booking secretary, whatever the role is just be a bit more comfortable and open about talking about the money. Hi, Fredrik, I'd love you to come down here, right? You know, we're prepared to, we will pay XYZ, provide ABC while you're here. It will be 50-50 on this and that and whatever. Are you happy with that? Yeah, great.
It's how it should be.
Yeah, and I know you know where we stand. At the end of the week, there's no faff. There's no, you know, frightenedness about asking about the money. But also as mediums, you know, if you're invited to work in a new place, and I know I've been saying this for the last few months, first of all, don't keep saying yes. Stop just going, yes, I'll do that. Try, let me have a think about it. Let me have a look at my calendar and I'll get back to you. Right, it's 80 miles away and I've got to drive. So the going rate is 45p a mile. So it's going to be X amount in travel expenses and whatever the fee is. And just, you know, just say that up front. Okay, yeah, I'd love to come and work for you. The travel expense will be this, and then whatever your fee is for the service. You know, if that church or centre then turn around and go, well, you should see what they asked for. that really is their business.
Mhm.
You know, and if they're not prepared to pay that to you, then quite simply you don't go. Really not hard. Really not hard. Veronica backing up that. Special is quite standard for the half of the ticket sales, or if you've got 2 mediums, it's a 3-way split or whatever. I'll tell you the other hidden part of that is where you have a special coming up with mediums, and generally when we have a special with a medium, it is a special. You know, this person is either well known to us or well known or whatever. I know we got Fredrik, but you know, sometimes I slip up. Anyway,
sometimes we have really good mediums.
yeah. Next week we got a really good medium. No, so you have that, and also when the medium is invested in the finances of the evening, they will actually promote the evening as well themselves, which is a win-win for everybody. You know, because that medium has already got a tried and tested following. They may be on that medium's page, not on the church's page, and they will see on the medium's page, because they follow them, because they hold them in whatever esteem, and go, oh great, they're down the road next week, oh brilliant, we'll go to that. And they would never have got that information from the church page because they don't follow the church page.
Sure.
So yeah. Right, lots of people. Hello, everybody. There we go. Veronica. It's always good practice for booking secretaries to ask when booking how much the medium expenses are. It is good practice, Veronica. And I think we need to do it more. But also, as I say, the mediums themselves actually need to be a bit more on the ball about that, of going in with a hidden expectation, and then when not getting it, coming away with a little bit of a ruffled feather syndrome. So yeah, we need to be much more open about money because of the world we live in today.
And I think with the money, it should be cleared before the evening or before the demonstration, the service, to not creating an uncomfortable feeling
Exactly
afterwards. Because if you start to speak about it afterwards, then it's too late.
Yeah. Interesting. Veronica, notice on my daily list are increasing numbers of circles and workshops and decreasing number of services. Those of you who don't know, and if you don't know, where have you been? Veronica runs a wonderful couple of groups of keeping people up to date with what's going on online. Started off in 2020, amazing resource. And that is really interesting fact there. Figures. I like figures. That there are an increasing number of and we've done exactly the same here. We've taken out our midweek service. The reason being, number one, we had it on a Wednesday afternoon at 3:00, and the whole reason we had that was going back to the days when the shops in the UK shut at 1:00 on a Wednesday. Then we had the service because there would be people available. The reason we've taken it out now is because with the rising utility bills, it works out at £31 to open up the church, taking all the bills over a year and an average. We then have to find the fee for the medium. A midweek during the day service, you haven't got the potential there. So we've shifted over to the evenings. We actually found the evening dems were not very well supported. So we've switched over to circles and the awareness nights and the spiritual cafe night. And that is pulling things back as people are going, oh, actually, I like this. I want to learn something. I want to discuss stuff. Where you never, the service mentality was come in, sit down, have a message, go home.
That's a huge difference.
Very much, very much. Thank you for that, Veronica.
Lots of comments.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice to see some watching.
Yeah. Arisha, did I tell you she jumped off a ladder?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought I'd tell you. It's very demoralising when they ask how much you want in front of everybody, and then giving all the change out of the plate. Yeah, been there, been there, done that. So that's interesting. Thank you, everybody.
But things like that should have been done before the service, and put it in an envelope or something. So
exactly, yeah,
you sort it out afterwards.
Yeah. And we do it here with the visiting mediums. We will do a proposal where everything is written down, what it is, how much it is, what the splits are, blah, blah, blah. And it's just there. And then there's no argy-bargy afterwards. If I'm not around for whatever reason, because I'm just about to win the lottery, I can feel it. It's just about there.
I can guarantee when you have said it, you will have so many friends on Facebook.
I have so many friends.
Everyone will add you as a friend on Facebook.
I have so many friends.
And you will find all your
so
relatives
lucky.
as well that you didn't know.
Yeah. But yeah, it's all agreed, and everybody's hunky-dory and there's no issue and it's just done, dusted. Yep. Julie, I haven't seen you for ages. I hope you had a good weekend away last week. Didn't have too many Vimtos. This happened in Helen Duncan's time. She stopped working for her local churches as they wanted to pay a set rate. But when she was the medium, the place would be packed, so she wanted to be paid accordingly. That's interesting, because I was reading her biography, and she worked for a number of organisations of the time. And one of them she worked for, her sittings were something like 6 guineas, which is an old English amount of money.
I actually heard the name before with the Guinness, and I had no idea how much it was. It was in one of my favorite programs, Hercule Poirot.
Oh, right.
Yeah, and they were talking about that. I never heard it. So.
It's something like £1 and 20 pence, or 22 pence, something like that. Anyway, her sitting through this organisation was something like 4 or 5 guineas. In those days, if you had 4 or 5 guineas for a private sitting, you didn't worry about you didn't worry about money.
No.
She only got something like 6pence out of it, because the thinking was, because she wasn't of particularly good educational background, that if they gave her loads of money, they'd ruin her and she wouldn't know what to do with it. So they only gave her 6pence. That's actually in her autobiography, and I thought that's really interesting, the cultural and sociological thing of the day. But yeah, thank you, Julie.
I didn't know that.
I'll lend it to you while you're here.
Yep. something to do while I'm here.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
haven't I filled your agenda enough?
No, it's nice to be here, and I'm looking forward to all the experience. And hopefully the weather will be good.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I mean, it's always interesting to speak about these things, because what we're talking about here, it might be questions that people have asked themselves, or things that they're dealing with and don't really know how to put it forward. Yeah. Hi, Claudia.
It brings up part of a conversation we were having earlier, that the path of the evidential medium has changed significantly. And I'm not harping on, the good old days, but it was, the route would be, you would go and sit in maybe 2 or 3 circles. You were invited into those circles. You most certainly weren't poached, which is something I've seen going on a little bit now. It's a bit naughty. Yeah. But you would go through your development with 2 or 3 tutors, and the last tutor would be the one who would take you out on the circuit. And you may just be sitting up there just to get used to sitting in front of people looking at you, because it's not everybody's natural.
It's scary sometimes.
It is, especially Paul. I get scared some weeks.
Especially when everyone can look at you on the camera.
Oh, yes. But then, there would be this sort of like recognized development style. But now we are seeing people there was a post. I've no idea what the group was, but somebody said, "How do you get church bookings?" And I said, well, what does your circle leader say about this? I don't sit in circle. Okay, that's fine. It's not for me to judge. Absolutely not for me to judge. But people are coming into the evidential mediumship arena now, not through the ways that were established. So how are they going to cope with getting church bookings? Also, what we've been talking about, because we got that advice as well. The circle leader wasn't just there for your spiritual welfare, they were there for your moral welfare and your actual financial welfare. I remember my circle leader said, "How much do you want for the service?" And I said, "I don't charge." She went, "You take something." Well, okay, I'll have a fiver. What have I done wrong? And she said, "You take money for your work." She said, "You do not do that. You take something for your work, even if it's only £1. You take something." And I went, "Oh, okay. I get it now that I didn't build this thing of I can never now charge for my work."
But then it's also difference when you as a medium feel you're ready to go out, and when your teacher telling you now you're ready to go out. It's like day and night.
Yeah, and again, we are seeing these changes coming in as people now who have evolved their mediumship through purely online are now coming into the physical arena. So, we need to be able to talk more or support each other. And this is nice, isn't it? That we support each other as mediums more now.
I mean, if I'm looking back on the teachers I have had, one of them is actually Paul Jacobs, and I didn't really understood the way of how he was teaching in the beginning. But since I work in myself as a medium, more or less understand the way he was teaching and the purpose of how he was teaching, and a teacher who is that straightforward, is it because he know the quality of the student?
Yeah.
And if you're not ready to have the feedback or the criticize from the teacher in a good way, then you're not really ready to do the work.
I always say one of the wonderful things about my mediumship, and I mean that as a whole, so the healing, the evidential, whatever I do, the inspirational, it allows me to explore my vulnerabilities. I can be vulnerable in those places and take critique from our peers. Sometimes, the first time it happened, actually, I was distinctly uncomfortable. And I won't name the tutor just because I don't want to embarrass them in a good way. But they actually critiqued my mediumship in an online course. And you know what? I got rightly... I got really... What? And I thought, no, what she's saying is quite right. What she's saying is quite right. So get rid of the what energy and get on and learn.
Because it's so hard to find someone who is honest in a positive way to you, who can tell you what you need to do better in a positive way.
Yeah.
To always hear, "Oh, you did a brilliant service, you were a good medium," it's not always helpful.
Yeah. And I get that totally. I get that totally. When you come down off a platform sometimes, "Oh, that was lovely." And I just think, do you know what? One time I would like to hear, I said it to a medium many years ago. And afterwards he said, "Oh, how was it? How was the service?" And I couldn't lie. I couldn't say, "Oh, that was lovely," because it wasn't. There was this struggle going on. And I put it in the nicest way that I could, because I can be diplomatic.
Really?
And I said, I put it this way. I said, "I've seen you soar like an eagle." I said, "But today it was a bit like you were just sat on the branch." Their partner turned around and said, "See, I told you, he's had a number of mini strokes over the last 2 months, and I told him he's not ready to come out to work again." And I said, well, why on earth have you put yourself through this?
Yeah.
You know, look after yourself. But yeah, it's giving that feedback, but in a way, and from people that we trust and respect.
Yeah.
And talking to people we trust and respect, lovely Susan.
Is busy in Ireland. Lovely lady.
It can't be football on.
No. Or rugby.
It is so disrespectful on a couple of fronts. Churches, centres not valuing their mediums. On the other side, mediums feeling they deserve more is reasonable. Yeah, true. I feel this will always be a punching bag. Serving God ought to be free. Mediums serve both worlds on this earth. We have bills to pay. That is the reality of life. Yeah. And yes, we hadn't touched on that energy there. Yeah, I've been approached by people and said, oh, we can come down and do a demo and it will be X. And I'm like, really? Really? That means I've got to sell, looking at the number of chairs in the church, I've got to sell a ticket for £45 just to meet your expenses. I don't think we'll be working together. I'll be honest with you. We have to be. Risha, picking up on something I've often said, and sort of, you know, to bring in just that thought. We pay our evidential mediums. What about the healing mediums? Shouldn't they get travel expenses? Especially now, churches in London. If there's anybody here from here, if it, I'll try that again, but not talking Dorset.
Shall we rewind?
Yeah. If there's anybody here from churches or centres in London, how is ULEZ affecting you? This is, I've spoken to a couple of people and it's not good. It's not good. I'm not quite sure. Is that stopping? Say hello. We'll say hello to Joan over in Philadelphia. No, I haven't been on the Merlot, Joan, after your comment earlier on. Thank you. Sue Townsend, where are you? Some people are prepared to pay for psychic mediumship messages via telephone at premium rates. Yep. Yet may not support local spiritualist churches by attending in-house mediumship demos or divine services. What do you feel would draw these people to church or centres instead? Or is it a case of?
I don't think those people will go to a church or a centre because they're looking for answers that not the church medium will give them. Yeah. They are prepared to pay £2 a minute to hear about the next love in the life or all this kind of stuff that the church medium wouldn't give them.
Do you know one of the hardest lessons that I learned when I took over? Well, I didn't take over, I was dropped in it, but never mind, that's another story for another night. When I started running Paul Church was, and I'm not having a dig here, Sue, by any means, so don't take it that way. There's no offence intended. But we talk about, well, how do we reach people who won't come into a church? How do we reach people who won't do this? How do we reach people who don't do that? Do you know what? I've really had to learn this is just by being yourself, being not proud, that's the wrong energy, being confident in that you are offering the best that you can at this time. And if that appeals to somebody, great. If that doesn't appeal to somebody, that's also great. You know, we used to get it just drive me up the pole in COVID, and this is part and parcel of the same lesson. People, you know, you'd advertise we're doing this online or that online tomorrow or wherever, blah, blah, blah. And people would say, oh, yeah, I'll be there. And then you do the online, they're not there. And the next day you get messages coming through. Oh, sorry, I couldn't be there. Something came up. And I used to think, what? What came up? The world is shut. Please tell me what came. Are you a burglar? Because that's about the only thing at the moment that's thriving. People will always look to add something, you know. Oh, well, you know, and again, this is something I had to learn. never to trade off. Well, if you do this, I will do that. So if you were to do this in the service, I would attend. Well, when you actually break down the figures of this, you know, we're talking about people who may attend once a month. I'll tell you what. Here we go. I'll tell you what is a really good example of this. Is we had this asked the other week about refreshments, teas and coffees after services, and people saying, oh yeah, but we want them, you know, blah 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 blah. I'm not having a dig at anybody, and I'm going to remain as neutral as I can. It's all very well saying, you know, we want teas and coffees after each service, so that's going to be 50 times a year. You've got to provide that facility. You've got to find the volunteers to do that. You've got to provide all the risk assessments and everything to ensure that you are legally covered. And you've got to do all this work to provide that one facility. And this is often at the behest of people who will only, and I use this word in its correct term, they will only deign to come to your church when there is a speaker on who may actually, for whatever reason, appeal to them. So that may be 6 or 7 times a year. Mm-hmm. But they actually, you know, they say, well, why is there no tea and coffee? Well, because if you only come 6 times a year, and I can't keep providing a facility here 50 weeks of the year, just in case you happen to turn up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. However, we are surrounded nowadays by millions of coffee shops. Yeah. And if you're that desperate, please go to one. But yeah, we need, well, as I said, this is a very difficult lesson for me running Paul Church. It's just be good at what you, be the best. Always strive to be the best at what you do, not in a competitive way, but just do it properly. Have the finesse, have the detail of things. Be open. Yeah, be open to different ideas, different thoughts coming in. But don't be, there we go. This is where I want to get to. Now I've destroyed my reputation. I'll try and definitely bring it back. Be more proactive in the way that you present your church rather than reactive. Because you will get it. You will have, if you've got people coming in and out of your church and you react to every want and every demand or every trade-off, you're just going to end up running around and around and around in endless damn circles. Mm-hmm. And actually those people, oh, well, I've got that now. Well, what else do I want? You know, just be proactive. Just say, right, this is the way we do it. We do it this way. All right. If you like it, great. If you don't like it, great. It really is that simple. But also, you know, keep an eye, obviously, on what the current trends are and what the needs are. But, you know, we are people pleasers. And when you're running a church or a centre or a group, being a people pleaser can be a bit detrimental.
Yeah, but you also need to be open and listening to what people actually want. I'm not talking about those who are visiting the church 6 or 7 times a year and expecting coffee. I mean, for the people who are there.
Yeah. No, I thought I'd explain that, but obviously not. It's going to be a long 7 days, everybody. Do listen to people. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying, you know, just be, you know, I am in charge and it's my way or the highway. By no means do that. Do listen to people. But also, as I said, be more proactive in the way that unfolds. Mm-hmm. And just don't give in to everything that people ask for. If everybody is asking for it all the time, well, guess what? You need to get your finger out and get it done. Yeah. Or in a way that you can be managed properly. So, Veronica. Always an interesting one where the culture of this comes from, as priests get paid as well as often accommodation. Imams get funding to live. So why does spiritualism have the culture that mediums should work for free? Yeah, it should work for free.
Yeah.
It's a gift.
It is.
Yeah. So,
but the time isn't a gift. No, I mean, I leave it up to the medium to choose if they want to donate the money as a charity back to the church, it's absolutely fine. But it has to be in a way that feels right for the medium.
Yeah.
And not to upset the churches or anything. It has to be a balance with everything.
Of course it does. And balance is key.
Yeah.
Barry, good evening, sir. Barry Oates. Hi, Larry. I think your conversation tonight is highlighting just how commercialized modern spiritualism has become. The real question now is, will this commercialization benefit spiritualism, or will it contribute to its demise?
I think it will work out in the way it's meant to work out in the end, where everyone needs to understand how to go forward with this. And I do think a few churches or centers will go down, and there will be other ones opens up who are thinking in a different way.
Yeah.
And to be true and honest, I think many of the committees have passed the best before day long time ago. True and honest.
Why are you single? Yeah.
I'm not saying anything bad about any committees, because I do appreciate all the work they do, but there needs to be new people coming in.
We need a modern thinking coming in. We do need a modern thinking. Yeah. Again, it's the old balance question. I'm not holding Paul Church or the way it's run up as the pinnacle, but I can talk from the heart on the way we run. Some of our meetings are what I call the educational side or the healing side, where actually the financial rewards from it are not the primary goal. And placing a heavy financial burden on people wishing to attend, to me, is inherently wrong, because we're here to give healing. Now, if you can put £1,000 in the plate, great. If you can put a penny in the plate, great. You still get the same treatment.
Yeah.
We do need to have the events where the finances are going back into the church coffers. When we talk about the word profit, we're talking about, really, in a well-run church organisation, this is going to be a reinvestment of things. There's also the part of the churches and centres within the community. If you are fortunate enough to have a church or a centre with a massive financial backing, and there are some out there that have got this, what are you doing sitting on that money when at this time there are, and I don't mean run out and give away all the money, but I really do mean approaching. We had a bequest left of the church. All right, modest, but very, very welcome. Very welcome. But in that bequest, when we got it, and I was talking to a few people and saying we should do something to mark this, and we had we'll do a bench. And I went, no, because we've got 3 benches in the garden sitting there rotting away that nobody ever sits on. So please, let's not add to the benches. But we supported 3 independent churches in the area who were struggling to reopen after the lockdowns. So we paid their first 2 months' rent to give them the lift up. We also supported one of our international colleagues that have been supporting the church through their work, who were in that time, they needed a little lift up as well. So, it's
all coming back.
Yeah, it's bringing that back in. So money is a necessary evil. We're living this physical life, and I believe the more I'm seeing of this life, the more I believe this, that we have the challenges of the physical world, and they are challenges. And the thing with a challenge is you've got to overcome it. So how do you manage with your money? How do you manage when you've got adversity going on? This is why we're here. We're here to learn and grow. But as I say, and we can have, I'm seeing, especially online, some wonderful charity dems where people are freely given their time, but instead of doing just a dem, and I say that in the nicest way possible, they're doing a dem for a reason, to support somebody.
Yeah.
We did one for UNICEF a couple of years ago.
Yeah. And I've done a few with other following mediums as well for the RSPC.
Yeah. And the cats.
Yeah. Cats and dogs and animals.
No, the cats.
Yeah.
You did the feral cats.
Yeah.
That was great.
And also for homeless people. And we did a charity event for Veronica as well.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting back to Barry's question there, the commercial. Thank you. Commercialization. I couldn't get that out for some reason. We've got to have a business acumen. If you're running a church or a centre, you've got to have a business acumen. This came up, interestingly enough, in a talk the other week, and saying about the way that the structure of many of our churches and centres about having, and listen, I'm not being nasty here. We have the annual popularity contest of who's going to run the church this year, you know. And if you had invested a lot of money into a business, you know, would you put out who's going to run that, who's going to manage it and steward it and steer it? Would you just put that out to anybody? You wouldn't, would you?
No,
you would interview. You would go for the best qualifications.
Yes, absolutely.
And again, please, anybody that gives up their time on any committee or trust board or whatever, free, hats off to you, absolutely. But are we expecting too much from people who are stepping into these roles? Are they getting the adequate support to be able to run that role? You can't, well, I'll say you can't. It's incredibly difficult to turn a church or a centre around in 1 year.
It takes a long time.
It takes a long time. It takes a long time learning the church, learning the centre, learning the people, learning the area, learning what can be work, what can't work there. And where's the incentive for that person that they're only going to be in there for a year with the potential to get voted off if they upset any of the members, you know? So let's try something new. Oh, no, we won't, you know, we'll get rid of them. They got rid of him. Very, very, very difficult. I think we need to look at our organising structure. I think we need to look at terms of office held by people. Are they too short? Are they too long? I think we need to learn more about how to run a business successfully, because it is that business aspect. You have got to make money. And to make money, you've got to understand what's going out of your church each and every day.
Exactly.
And
it's not an easy job.
No, it's not an easy job. It's a bloody horrible job at times.
And therefore, I also think it's so important that churches working together as well, instead of working against each other, and building up a good, what's the name? Cooperation.
Yeah. I did see recently up north, the lovely Kate Green, Cole Darwin Church, did a fundraiser for another church. And I thought, wow, well done you lot. So yeah, Barry, again, everything is balance, isn't it, sir? We've got to balance everything. So we've got to have that business acumen, the awareness and everything like that. But we shouldn't let it, if it becomes the driving force, you're going to lose the spirituality out of it. If it becomes that, you know, unless you've got a tenner, you can't come in tonight. We've done it here, where if somebody I know that is at this time maybe struggling a bit, but there's something on that actually would benefit them, not that I want to go to that, but actually benefit them going that, I've just said, tell you what, I need somebody to help get the food out
Yeah.
or whatever. You do that, and then you attend whatever. You support people. So it's a fine line. I don't want to go down the American route where we're going to end up with storefront psychics and things like that. I think that would be a great damage to our movement.
Yeah.
Moira Dyer, hello, my darling. Great conversation. Just want to say that what you are doing tonight is having an informed, insightful discussion accessible to many via Facebook. Is a great example of expanding the traditional format of a spiritualist church. Well done. Thank you, Moira.
Thank you.
We always keep our conversations. You see some conversations drift too much over the negative side of things or whatever. And we try not, we're all here, we're all going through this new time, and we should all try and help each other. And if that help's taken or asked for or offered, brilliant. If it's not, again, absolutely brilliant. I don't know if you're on earlier, Moya, but there's another medium who dropped by for a cup of tea tonight, and I thought this is lovely that mediums are coming together, not only virtually but also now in the real world, and we can talk about things and go, "Oh my God, I had that as well."
Mm-hmm. To share the experience.
Yeah,
it's wonderful.
Yeah, it is. Lovely Daniela. Hello, Daniela. Claudia. We don't really have many spiritualist churches close by in Switzerland. I experience proof of life after death more in daily life than in church, but different countries have different approaches to the same faith and cause, which is love. Yeah. You know what? There's something interesting. We've seen quite a lot of interfaith work going on, which is brilliant. How about we have some interspiritualism going on? How about, we start taking down the names that we put around ourselves? Because I always say at the end of the day with spirit, I don't care if you're Christian spiritualist, ISM, ISF, SNU, ABC, Do Re Mi. At the end of the day, you're a spiritualist, man. Yeah, and that's all that counts. So, thank you, Claudia. Veronica, where are you? There is an element of energy exchange and value being placed on things because of charging. When things are free, they are not always valued in the same way. Here. You agree with that?
Yep.
Is that it? Is that what you're going to say? Yes.
No. I was reading another comment and I was hearing you with one ear. So,
okay. Which comment were you reading then?
No, further down. So,
further down?
Yeah. I started to read with Keith.
Right. Okay. We'll do that. Anyway, Veronica, very rude. Yes, that is very true. We've been doing online courses and they all started off, first of all, free. There's actually a charge gone in with them now because we started off with 10, we ended up with 2, and it wasn't through the quality of the teaching.
No.
It was because it's cost me nothing, so what have I,
the value.
Yeah, exactly.
And I attending a few of them myself, and I'm happy to pay for them because it's the quality and the time and everything.
Yeah.
And so I wouldn't expect it to be free.
Yep. Yeah. So good point, Veronica. Anyway, Keith. I've known churches as a centre offer one-to-one reading evenings where people get a private 30 minutes of the reading for 10 to 20, which is donated to the church. A brief message from platform is a taster, but people want more and will seek out mediums in the way Sue Townsend suggested.
Yeah. I think that's a really good idea. To open up for the variety of spiritualism and mediumship and just give them a taster. And if they, give a private reading for 10-15 minutes.
Yeah.
And the money goes to the church or charity or whatever. And then if they want to book another reading, then they have to book it another day. Yeah.
Well, private sittings are always a popular thing. But however, what I do with the events here is I won't make the medium follow the event calendar. So, Fredrik, you're coming down, you're here Friday to Monday. So on Friday night, you're going to do a dem. Saturday morning, you're going to do private sitting. Sunday morning, you can do the service. Sunday afternoon, actually look to the demonstrators coming down here and go, like, what is their strengths and what is their weaknesses?
Yeah.
You know, some people are really good at doing an evening dem. They've just got, and I'm not saying they're better mediums than others, it's just in their personality, in the way they engage with people, and they can really hold a room of 40 people and keep them all in the room.
Yeah.
Other people are marvelous church mediums. Absolutely, you know, they can do a church service that is just simply sublime.
Yeah.
Others are brilliant on their private sittings. So, you know, we work that way. But yeah, the sittings. And again, we talk about sitting. What about spiritual assessments? I've got a great interest in those.
It's a difference.
Yeah, it is. But then where we're doing spiritual assessments, we need to move our congregation's knowledge further forward as well. And saying, well, there is the element of evidence in there in what's being said by the other world. However, it's not the evidence that you become accustomed to of having that loved one, that communication, that truth. But things will be said in a spiritual assessment that you actually, you know, either inherently right or, oh my God, I've been thinking that myself. So, yeah. Lovely Ron out in Florida. I don't know what you're thanking me for. So, but thank you. Yeah, Susan agreeing with Moya there.
It's just been a great evening.
Daniela, ABC, that's funny. Yes, Daniela. Lovely Daniela from the Netherlands. A divine service is a window shop for spiritualism. Really should be. Yeah, really, really should be. And it's just that joy and uniqueness in our divine services. And the way, right, I'm going to let you in on something here. This is bizarre. And we talk to dead people, so you've got to go some to get bizarre.
Yeah.
On the electronic calendar for the week that Fredrik's here, I keep the notes on there of everything. And there was a link appeared in there to a hymn. And I'm like, I don't remember. I don't even know this hymn. I have no idea where this has come from. So this afternoon, we were sat here and I'm like, what is this hymn?
Yeah, and it was just amazing because it was one of very good memories that I had with my father, and it was so connected with my father. My father is in the spirit world, and I could just feel the presence of my father when Lawrence was playing this song, and I could also hear him sing. So I become quite emotional.
Yeah, I'm just like,
magic moments.
Yeah, and it was because I had no idea where that come from. But we so often find as well that our music within the service will support the reading, which will support the address. I'm working very much now in this energy about people experiencing a divine service. You know, and I keep saying to people, this is not Netflix. This is not Disney Plus. Don't sit there like that, you know, waiting to be entertained. Be in the moment. Be in the presence. Feel that energy coming in. Feel those communications. So, yes, Daniela. A nearby church started offering one-to-one readings before a service to help pay for the medium for the service. Yeah, okay. You know, we have got a lot of things that we can try. Those are fortunate enough to actually own their premises and things like that. You know, I'm sad because I like figures, and I've occasionally done the sum of, do you realise your church is only open to the public for 6 hours a week? And there's a lot of hours in a week.
Yeah.
So And I do understand the restrictions placed upon some places by some organisers. I do understand that, but actually we need to be saying, listen, if we don't pay the rent, we don't pay the bills, we're going to shut.
Yeah.
So
I want to
actually,
be in a church.
yeah, we need to be, because there's so many community-based things that need support. I had a very touching phone call from a lady who is organising a kiddies Christmas party for 60 underprivileged kids. But the venue they need must have cooking facilities because they're going to cook them a Christmas dinner. And I would have, we haven't got the cooking facilities. We haven't got it. You know, I've got one commercial, what's the word? Residential. No, we've got me to live in it. You know what I mean? One household oven up here in the flat where I do the cooking and take it down the street. I can't cater for 60 kids. No. But, you know, there just shows there is so much things that we can do within our community and by linking up. Yeah. So, yes, Veronica, very good. Anyway, you lovely people, I've waffled on for ages. Fredrik sat there thinking, does he ever shut up?
It has been a lovely evening.
I was waiting for you to say no.
Yeah, and thanks for all the comments. It has been lovely.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, hold on. Sue, what do you think about inviting speakers who had near-death experiences as well as a group similar to the Death Cafe? A group, yeah. So these are all right for one-off presentations. When these, you know, some things have a moment in the sun, some things, yeah, but there are limitless ideas. There's also, you know, being honest, the choice of speaker, because we have had speakers here and we've realised after that maybe we weren't exactly in the same hymn sheet as they, but yeah, fair enough. Anyway, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Have a lovely Saturday evening, day or morning, wherever you are in the world.
And if you bear with me, I will find out, because I think next week we have a wonderful evening, and I should have signed into this before, but if I did, it will reduce my bandwidth and make it all very scratchy. Come along. Please hurry up and load. So next Saturday we have drum roll while the calendar loads.
Jack and Lola.
No. Oh, for goodness sake. It's taken. Actually, next Saturday we are downstairs for an evening demonstration with Sandra Mitchell-Therius. So we have a lovely surprise for next week, which means Lawrence hasn't planned it yet, but I do think it will be hosted by Jack. But yeah, so bear with. But there are some wonderful speakers coming up. We have Libby Clark will be talking to us in November.
Good.
David Shizza will be talking to us.
That's good as well.
Kathy Lee Tukalas. Thank you. I struggle so badly with that name.
Can you say her surname once again?
Tukalas.
Yeah.
Right, stop there. Paul Brereton will be talking with us. So yeah, lots of people coming up online. In the meantime, Lawrence, stop waffling. Hello, Ian. Well, thank you. Oh yes, Ian. Hello, sir. With lads again. Yeah. I'm going to highlight this because I like being lads. Lovely evening, lads. Wish I was there for the glass of wine now and the proper coffee in the morning. Don't talk about the coffee, for God's sake, please. It doesn't need any. Gloria! Thank you, Gloria. I've got presents. I'm spoiled. Thank you. Anyway, have a wonderful evening, everybody. Don't forget, tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. GMT, you can watch our divine service coming to you from Paul Church, and we have the wonderful Heather on the healing, Sonia on the healing, Lynn on the healing, Nikki on the healing.
I do healing as well.
No, you don't. No, it's ladies only day tomorrow. No, it's not, because we will have lovely Matt as well healing. Oh, and Ian healing. And also, we will have the wonderful Fredrik taking the service. So thank you very much, everybody. As you can see, it's going to be a very fun few days here in sunny Paul. And yeah, looking forward to it.
It might be the first service in Swedish.
It might well be the first service in Swedish. There we go. And last.
Thank you, everyone.